everybody, and welcome to this evening's live Masterclass group repatterning session. The session that we're doing this evening is called Envisioning Your Impossible Dreams. Now, this is the first time that anything like this has ever been done before, streamed live. So I'm very excited to be here with you, and you're going to be seeing how I would actually step a group of people through a live repatterning. If you've never experienced resonance repatterning before, what I'm going to invite you to do is to just keep an open mind, be playful and curious, and expect the unexpected. Allow yourself to just enjoy the experience, and you will receive the benefits from just going along with the flow of this process. I am Jax the Heartist, and just a little bit of background about where I come from and how I came to resonance repatterning and what it is. So I've had a 20-year career in the area of self-leadership and a little bit of a specialist in that area. Also some exposure to values-based leadership. And about a year ago, after I developed a self-leadership model that is tried and tested and has been applied in corporates at many different levels, I was looking for something that would really bring a shift into my own life. I found myself stuck around my own impossible dreams, and I couldn't move forward. And I was wondering, what is it that I need to do to really heal myself and be able to overcome all of my beliefs that were keeping me stuck and in place? So I couldn't actually achieve my impossible dreams. I came across resonance repatterning and did a 6-month course in how to use the system. It's a UK-based system developed by a woman called Chloe Faith Wordsworth, and it's a comprehensive system that works with the idea of energy and resonance and frequency and vibration, and it's about identifying what it is in our system that is non-coherent and keeping us from actually resonating in alignment with our dreams. And it's also about identifying what it is that we need to become more coherent so that our dreams actually just happen naturally without having to try too hard. So you're going to see me throughout the course of this masterclass doing this with my fingers. What I'm actually doing is I'm doing something called a muscle check, a resonant muscle check. And what that means is I am working with the system of a group. So there is an energy within any group that comes together or constellates. And what you'll start seeing is that there are common patterns that are running through the people who are actually participating in the group session. So what I'm doing with the muscle check is I am checking resonance with particular statements in this book, and using this book as well. Okay, this is the system that I use to actually guide the process. So just give me a moment. This is a live recording, and we are live streaming at the moment onto HybriCON. So this is so exciting, Nico. Thank you for the opportunity to do this and to stream this out into the world. So this is a live recording, but what I do want to say is that the recording will be available after the session, streaming on HybriCON. And if you do want to watch the session, feel free to do that. Please know that if you proxy yourself into the session, you will receive exactly the same benefits as the people who are participating in the session. So let me just welcome the people who've arrived into the space. We have 6 people here with us. So welcome everyone who's here. KK, Zaza, Naz, and Tabby, Nico, and me. I'm here too. So welcome to everybody who's brave enough to join us for this evening's session. Okay, I am now going to set a time intention for the session that by 8:45 this evening, we will have completed gathering all of the information that we need for the session, implementing the energizing options that's going to shift the resonance for the people who are participating, and Yes, that's what we need to do by 8:45. At the end of the session, I'll be taking a little bit of feedback from the participants, and you will be able to hear what they actually took away from the session. So let's get into the session. Please click on the link to download your Heart Start so that you can actually think into the questions that I'm going to be asking. Sometimes people might feel in a group repatterning that it's just one person. What we do need to understand is that there are the underlying patterns that affect everybody. And so while it does shift the energy, I like to engage people at an individual level. So you're thinking about every question for yourself as I'm asking it and bringing up your own information. Okay, so let's take a moment. We're just going to take a pause. So I've been asked to share the link. I can't do that right now at the moment. I'm being recorded, so it's a little bit tough to do that. But you can watch the recording at a later point and you'll still get the same benefits from the session. So we are going to now move straight into tonight's session, which is called Envisioning Your Impossible Dream. And I'm just going to open up my book over here now and take us into the session. So just give me a moment. Okay. So what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be doing a repatterning that is called a vision memory repatterning. And memory governs all of our perceptions, and memory imprints make our survival possible. Our brain and body respond according to our personal perspective, which is based on our memory imprints. The brain's neural pathways are easily activated when a present sensation or event resembles even vaguely a past remembered sensation and event. Well-used neural pathways, whether positive or negative, stimulate biochemical responses. That's chemicals or neurotransmitters that get released into our system, which manifests as our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Okay. We need to discover a new reality. Sometimes we get stuck in our impossible dreams when our perceptions are creating our current reality. So discovering a new reality is about, for an example, if you put flies in a jar with a lid on and you later remove the lid, the flies will continue to stay inside the jars, though it's still closed, until one of them finally discovers the new reality that it's now possible to fly out of the jar. But based on the early experience or memory, flying free of the jar has no meaning for the flies until a new memory imprint of what is possible in the present is created by some daring and creative fly who is willing to explore beyond the boundaries of its past experience and what's familiar. Okay. So now we move on to anything is possible. If we want to broaden the range of positive options that are possible for us in the present, we need to identify and transform the past mental images we resonate with that are creating a negative reality in the present, a reality that actually only exists in our mind. The experience itself is over, and all we are left with are negative thoughts about a painful experience and a corresponding visualization of that experience. Okay. Now, our perceptions release neurotransmitters. So perception is the meaning we give to what we see, hear, feel, smell, and taste based on our past experiences. A negative or life-depleting meaning or perception activates a release of peptides and neurotransmitters that can cause a fight-flight response of tension, stress, anxiety, fear, anger, doubt, depression, guilt, or loneliness. Okay, so that's the intro. And what tonight's repatterning really is about is shifting the way we perceive life by shifting our memory perceptions. We expand the range of options and we allow the fly to fly free of the jar with no lid, because we're no longer resonating with limiting beliefs. So we're now going to move into the actual session. Just take a moment, maybe have a sip of water, and I'm just going to check of the people who are actually in our group today, who are we going to be working with as the seat of transformation. Now I'm going to explain the seat of transformation as one person who best represents the group pattern that we're working with this evening. So is it KK? Yes. So we're going to start off with KK as the seat of transformation. So KK, I'm going to ask you at this point to turn on your camera for me, if you don't mind.
I'm load shedding, eh?
Okay. All right. So don't worry, then you don't need the camera. I can just listen to the voice. For the rest of you, feel free to click on the download of the Heart Start, and you can start thinking into that. So KK, everybody actually right now, what I'd like you to do is in the Heart Start, I'd like you just to take 2 minutes to write down your impossible dream. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about it. What is that impossible dream that you would like to see manifest in your life? When you're writing it down, please write it in the positive. Write it in language that inspires you and excites you, and it's clean and clear language. So just take a moment to write that down. Just know that as you're working with the Heart Start, that I did do preparation for today's session, and it might have changed slightly as I'm muscle checking, because energy is always moving and always changing. So let's work with it as best as we can, but it might not necessarily be 100% accurate. Okay, so do you all have your impossible dreams written down? If you can just pop into the chat bar, yes. Okay, great stuff. I just want everyone to be on the same page. Okay, so we're ready to rock and roll. So KK, I'm now going to ask you some questions, and I'm going to be capturing the information that you give me. So do you mind sharing with us your impossible dream, if you don't mind?
No, I don't mind. What it is for me is to achieve entrepreneurial and financial freedom by the end of December 2025.
Entrepreneurial end of 2025.
December, yes, 2025.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay. So just checking. This is a general muscle check. So please can you say the statement, I achieve entrepreneurial and financial freedom?
I achieve entrepreneurial and financial freedom
by the end of 2025.
By the end of 2025.
Okay, so I'm now checking KK's resonance with that statement, and he's not resonating with it. So at the end of the session, we're going to recheck that and see his resonance. So KK, can you please share with me the problem or the stressful situation that you're experiencing in the present moment?
Related to my dream?
Related to your dream, yes.
It's finding the right people to work with.
Okay, there's more. Can you tell me a little bit more about that problem?
Yeah, I keep meeting with people who buy into the dream, but don't even make it past the first promise. They don't even deliver on the first promise for the first packs that we would make as teams. I can expand on that if you like.
No, that's all I need. So I keep meeting with people who buy into the dream but don't deliver on their first promise. Okay, so it's a general muscle check. So please, can you say that statement? And obviously what I'm asking everyone to do is to write down the answer to these questions in their own heart start.
Would you like me to repeat the statement?
Yes, please repeat the statement. Okay, I'm having you can see the statement. Can you see the statement, or do you want me to say it for you again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm back and forth with my phone.
Okay, let me say the statement. Please say, I have difficulty finding the right people to work with.
I have difficulty finding the right people to work with.
Keep meeting with people who buy into the dream.
I keep meeting with people who buy into the dream,
but don't deliver on their first promise.
Don't deliver on their first promise.
Okay, and I've checked your resume. That. Okay, so KK, what negative thoughts do you have about this situation?
To be honest, right now I'm feeling very much disillusioned. I'm at a place where I feel like just giving up, and I know it wouldn't be giving up on myself, but it would be giving up on continuing to chase what maybe feels like an impossible dream, or something that will be too impossible to achieve.
This is too. Okay, so I'm hearing that the thought underneath is this is too hard. Okay, and I'm checking your resonance with that. This is too hard. Does that sound about right? This is too hard.
No, let me try and rephrase it. I think maybe it's too big. It's too big to achieve on my own. If I mean, not in my individual capacity, but maybe with smaller teams. So if I scale it down, it may be more possible.
Okay. Okay, so please say this is too impossible too big to achieve on my own. Yeah.
It's too big to achieve on my own.
If I scale it down, it may be more possible.
If I scale it down, it may be more possible.
Okay. So I'm checking your resonance with that, and you are resonating on with that. Okay. So I'm
resonating with the negative stuff.
Sorry?
Negative stuff, for some reason, I'm resonating with much more.
Okay, so you're resonating with a negative belief, and that's good. That's what this session is about tonight, is to switch off resonance with those negative thoughts, which are wired in some memory. So we're going to go find the memory imprint just now. So you're feeling disillusioned? Yes, disillusioned is the feeling. So please say, I feel disillusioned.
I feel disillusioned.
Okay, and you're resonating on with that. So now, KK, what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go check your non-coherent reptilian brain negative response. Okay, and there's 7 options. So 1. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a statement now. Just give me a moment. Okay. This is a general muscle check. So can you please say, I suppress my feelings.
I suppress my feelings.
And life energy.
And life energy.
So I won't lose control.
So I won't lose control.
Okay, so I'm checking your resonance with that. So what that means is that there's a very
reptilian brain response. It's in the back of your mind that's actually playing out here. So now I'm going to check the non-coherent limbic brain response. So is it 1 to 8? Do we need that? No, we don't need that. Okay, so we don't need that. Okay. So KK, what is the underlying fear in this present situation? What is it
that you're most afraid of?
I don't know, Jackie, because I don't connect too well with fear in general. I'm not someone who's generally fearful of anything, actually.
Okay, so this is the interesting thing about fear. Sometimes we don't connect with it, but it's playing itself out in the background at a very unconscious level.
So I'm going to check for you what might be running in the background. Just give me a moment in my book. Okay, so I'm checking through a list of fears that cause a constriction or tension or pain for you. So just give me a moment. These may be generational fears, KK, so it might not even be one's own fears that are actually running the show. It might be something that you've carried in generationally. So this is actually a generational fear that I'm checking for. So I'm checking. Okay, so it's actually a fear of some sort of internal state. So I'm checking what it is. There's 23 options, so it's 0 to 5. So just give me a moment. So it's actually a fear of depression. Okay, so just give me a moment. Okay. So this is a general muscle check. So please can you say, in relation to achieving entrepreneurial and financial freedom, I am afraid of depression.
KK, you there?
Yeah, sorry, just do it again.
Okay, in relationship to achieving.
In relationship to achieving entrepreneurial and financial freedom, I'm afraid of depression.
Yeah, and you're resonating on with that statement. Okay, so I'm just going to take a pause here. Is there anything else? Yes, okay, we're going to move on after this. So I'm just going to take a pause. Is there anybody that would like to
add anything to this statement in relationship to their impossible dreams? Is there anything that comes up or stands out as you're going through your heart start? Maybe you can pop it in the chat bar, or if you want to actually turn on your cameras, you can. So we're now gathering data from the entire group to just build out the statements. Okay, so I've got some hands up. Naz, do you want to go for it?
I mean, I've attended another repatterning session that you had, and I'm blown away already from the start here, because everything KK is saying resonates so deeply with what my vision is and impossible dream is, and everything. It's just freaky. So yeah, it's on point. Very different dreams, but everything is the same. I suppose that's the resonance, right?
So that's exactly how resonant works. It will pick up the underlying common problem
of the people who constellate together in this group, who show up for the session. Great. Anybody else want to add anything else before we continue? Okay, so what I'm going to ask you all to do now is just to take a little pause. We're going to take a break now, maybe grab a sip of water, and we'll be back in just a few moments. Hello everyone and welcome back. So we now have a very good understanding of the problem that's being experienced. We understand some of what's happening in the brain, some of the fears underneath the problem. And now what we're going to move on to is to understand what's the earlier memory that's actually related to the particular problem. So I'm going to stay here with you, KK. You are going to be our seat of transformation, and we're going to see this through with you. So I am checking that there is an earlier memory that is related to this present situation. And I'm checking that the age of this experience where the earlier memory imprint first took hold was at 13 years old. So can you think of something that happened to you at 13 years old that could be related to this impossible dream and the fears that you're having and your disillusionment and your fear of depression?
Jackie, I was going to ask you how I should kind of handle this, because in my person, I don't connect with those last two statements. I don't know how I may be suppressing my feelings or my life energy. If anything, I feel, I'm very much expressive of how I feel, and and really have never felt more alive. In terms of my own life energy, I feel very conscious of it. Yes, there may be a couple of levels I still need to tap into, and just the idea of depression, I do not connect with at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless if there's obviously something I'm missing. So, and therefore I'm not sure how to be as we progress.
Okay, so what I'm checking for right now, KK, is this is actually
not yours, it's generational. So this is something that's actually been passed down that you are carrying on behalf of, I'm just checking, is it your mother, on the masculine line. So you're carrying this energy on the masculine line, and I'm also checking that it is umbilical. So this is something you wouldn't even have a memory of or a conscious awareness of. This is something deeply unconscious that you're still resonating with. So I'm going to ask you to trust this process, and let's just go and see where it leads us. Is that okay? Okay. So can you think of something that happened at age 13 years old that you might be related to feeling disillusioned? Let's work with feeling disillusioned.
Let me just try and remember where I was at 13.
It's something to do with adolescence, that time of becoming a man, your identity being formed, and needing
someone's support and needing to ask for someone's support.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay. Okay. No, so we're going to go with this. I'm just checking. Do we need who? No.
Sorry, it's not clear, Jackie, but yeah, it's not clear and it's not specific at all. The only thing I remember, I may have wanted support around was one of my little entrepreneurial initiatives, but I can't think of anything else.
Tell me about it, because that's exactly what we're working with, is your entrepreneurial initiative. So tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial initiative.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't, I'm not 100% clear, but what comes to mind is, I mean, I remember So I started out at 9 years old, selling sweets, and every other year I would do something else. And this was very unconscious because I wasn't aware of exactly what I was doing. I didn't know this is what business or entrepreneurial initiative was about. But at some age in my early teens, and it wasn't so much my own initiative, but I remember my dad surprised me with like cologne that he had purchased from some manufacturer close to his workplace at the time. So if anything, he had pleasantly surprised me. I had no expectation, and therefore I don't see how I could have wanted support unless it was, okay, what the next steps would have been now that I have this product with me. Possibly that could have been, but I don't remember anything that I struggled with at the time.
So what happened? Can you tell me like what happened with that entrepreneurial venture? Because you're saying maybe you needed support in terms of the next steps.
Sure. It was not knowing how to go about selling it. And again, the outcome was also something that pleasantly surprised me, because I had this cologne that sold very quickly. And I remember, maybe this is the thing, I remember asking my dad for another load of stock. And from what I remember is it happened because I gave him the money from the money I had made. And from what I remember is I did get another 2, maybe even 3 loads of stock that I was able to sell. And then, I remember, what I remember is positive, not anything I was struggling. If it was how to go about finding customers, how to sell it, sell it for how much. Maybe if there was a struggle, it was really around figuring those things out, but nothing too deep.
Okay, so I know that I'm certainly
resonating as part of this group with exactly what you've spoken about, which is not knowing how to go about selling it and how to go about finding customers and how to price it. So I'm just want to take a pause here and check in. Is there anybody else that is resonating with that same thing at age 13 or when you were younger? Okay, is there anything else that anyone wants? No, okay, let me continue here. So we're going to work with this KK, and we're going to trust the process and the system. So specific to identity at age 13 and adolescence, please can you sorry?
Yeah, what's the question?
the question. This is a statement I'm going to ask you to say. Please say, I trust you to ask for support.
I trust you to ask for support.
And my love is always with you. This is the message. This is actually a message that is coming through from your father. And he's saying, my love is always with you. I trust you to ask for support. Okay, so at that time of 13 years of age, please, I'm just checking. Okay, so the resonance with that statement is off, and we want to switch that on. Okay, and you're resonating with that earlier memory. Okay. Okay, so what's the feeling that comes up for you around not knowing how to go about selling and how to find your customers and how to price the product?
Sorry, Jackie, there's just one thing I need to say. So I've been load shedding since 6. My battery is low, but it should kick back now. Okay. So
okay.
I should be back any second. So if I do get cut off, I'll definitely jump back on.
Great, thank you.
I also want to add that something else that kind of came to mind is, I remember when I was 11, let's say 12, at the beginning of age 12, I remember we had moved back to Nigel, or I had moved to Nigel full time to live with my parents after spending 3 years in Polokwane. And there was a massive transition at that moment, or at that time, from I guess having lived in what is traditionally a Pedi homeland versus, Joburg, which is Zulu. There was a big transition. So maybe identity could have been a thing at the time, but it wasn't the first time I was staying in that place. It was just the first time I would be there full time, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So they could have been some identity issues at, me trying to find myself within the township on a full-time basis, knowing that I'd be living there on a full-time basis.
Basis. Okay, so I'm checking your resonance with that. That's the statement as well. So, yeah. So can you please say, I'm trying to find myself
I'm trying to find myself
in the township
in the township
on a full-time basis.
on a full-time basis.
Yeah, okay, so you're resonating on with that statement.
I tell you what else.
Yes, of course.
I'm 7 months back in the hood after 20 years.
Okay.
And I'm struggling with that right now.
Okay. So can you see that the resonance with that early experience is playing itself out right now in the current reality? That's the resonance, is once again in the township, back there, trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So this is about your identity and who you really are in the world, right? Okay. So what's the negative feeling that you imagine you felt at that time in the township and finding yourself?
I mean, at the time it was a new place and I was young, Yeah, and there were just tons of stuff I didn't know, right? Just a sense of being. I didn't know what a sense of being is, but it's different now. And okay, power's back, so he should be good.
It's okay, cool, thanks. So not knowing, tons of stuff you don't know. What's the feeling that comes up for you around that there's tons of stuff that you don't know?
Then or now?
Let's work with then, because that's the feeling you're still resonating with.
So language was a big thing. However, so just to clarify, I grew up my first few years on this planet. I was in Mpumalanga, so I could speak Zulu like very well. And then I moved to Polokwane for those 3 years between 9 and 11. And then I had to switch back to Zulu. So the language itself wasn't such an issue relative to not even a new place. So when I was staying in Polokwane for those 3 years, during school holidays, I would go and visit my family. So I'd be with my parents, right? But now at 12, I was then living there full time. So it wasn't like it wasn't unfamiliar. What was unfamiliar was having to go to a new school. I think, that's probably it. I had to go to a new school.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you now to just hone into the feeling that, there's stuff you don't know, you're going to a new school. What's the feeling that you imagine you felt at the time of this? It's like a transition or a change? What's the feeling?
It was close to unsafe, but I knew I was safe, but it didn't feel familiar, and it was a new school. It was a new grade, right? It was like a high school grade. There was quite a lot that was new at the time.
Okay. The word uncertain comes up, and I'm just checking this with you. Is that a feeling that
Totally, yes.
Yes, uncertain. Okay, so there's tons of stuff you don't know. I continue to feel unsafe. Okay, so is this a general? This is a specific to a level, area, and age. So this is specific to age 12.
Okay, please say I continue to feel unsafe.
I continue to feel unsafe. Yeah, uncertain.
And uncertain. Okay, and you're resonating. You're resonating on with that. Okay. Okay, so this is a good time to take a little
pause and just see, is there anybody else who wants to talk about their early experience and maybe add something that they might have been feeling around the time of 12 or 13 with their early experience that relates to what KK is saying and the problem that we're experiencing in tonight's session or dealing with in tonight's session. Okay. Anyone want to add?
Okay, so I'm actually going to call on you, Naz, given that you said there's such parallels. Is there anything else that you would like to add here?
You had to do that, Jax, right?
I did. I always do, Naz.
There's actually two, funny enough. So I've been filling out my form as we're going along, and my impossible dream is about creating a bridging space for children with special needs, right? So it sort of resonates with KK because it's an entrepreneurial space. I'm having the same issues with staffing. I cannot find people that are passionate enough. They're exactly the same as KK. They buy into the vision. Everybody's gung-ho at the beginning, and then they don't deliver. And then I'm left to start all over again. And it is actually very depressing. Then you got on to the age of 12. So I was trying to think back of what similar experience I would have had, and I can't remember. It's very difficult for me, or I've blocked out a lot of the experiences. The only thing I could think of that was very big that may have happened at the time is my brother's death. But that would have been, he was older than me by 2 years, and that would have been a couple of years before. And what I'm thinking of in terms of then and now is the feeling of not being able to help, or feeling helpless and feeling guilty. And that comes together with the first session we had, which comes with my mother and my father's death as well, which was the same thing, the feeling of helplessness, not being able to help them, and guilty. So that comes up for me. But as KK was speaking, I was reminded about the age of 12. Strangely enough, that year, even though I don't remember much about years and dates and things, that year is very clear in my mind. And that was the time where I created this vision of starting a self-sustaining home for people in need. And the funny thing about that is when we started doing these sessions recently again with you, that came up again. And that in some strange way is tied up to my current dream of creating a space for kids and women in need. But it's so, I can't work through it very much. It's still in the air, but it sort of feels like it's all linked together. And yeah, I think for me, the thing that's coming through is I am feeling helpless to move forward. I'm kind of stuck. I think KK mentioned that. Or was it just my words resonating in my head, where I'm feeling stuck? I know what I want to do. I know where I want to go with this, and I'm passionate about making change and impact. But I feel like I'm stuck, and I don't know what of my self-limiting beliefs is actually causing that I can't work past, perhaps.
Okay, so the commonality that I'm hearing is
I don't know sort of how to move forward. If I look at what KK was saying is not knowing, so it's the I don't know. Correct. What the next step is, that's actually where the stuckness is sitting. So correct. You know what you want to do, but don't know how to move forward. So I'm just gonna, is that the statement? Yes, so I'm gonna build that in as the statement. There. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna put it there. Okay, so I'm checking there's resonance with that, and I'm just going to build that into the group. Okay, so KK, I'm going to ask you to say the statement, please. I know what I want to do.
I know what I want to do,
but I don't know how to move forward.
but I don't know how to move forward.
Yeah, and you're checking on for that. Okay, so just give me a moment. Okay, I think this is once again a nice place for us to take a little pause.
You guys can take a sip of water and just ponder on not knowing the way forward or what to do next. Okay, so welcome back everybody. Now that we have a good understanding of the problem situation and some of the earlier memories of what the imprint is that we are resonating with in terms of the entrepreneurial problem and moving forward in our businesses, we're going to dive in to seeing what do we do about this? How do we actually shift this to a more positive imprint? So just give me a moment. Okay, and what I'm checking for in the system is what's needed is a positive response to transform this memory imprint of not knowing how to move forward. Okay, so I'm checking of 7 options. Okay, is it 1? Okay, so give me a moment while I take this statement down. Okay, so this is a general muscle check. So KK, please say, I am receptive to another option.
I'm receptive to another option.
Okay, so I'm checking your resonance with that, and currently that is off. So what that means is that there's almost at a perceptual level, there's a closedness to seeing an alternative option. Okay, is there anything else? Yeah.
Let me say this. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt earlier. It's not so much about not knowing what to do, but it's about what this new thing needs to look like. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if scaling down means I have to change it, so I'm not at how do I go about doing it yet. It's about redefining it. That's where I am. I need to scale it down. And I think one of the things that's keeping me back is now it's going to feel selfish because now it's going to be predominantly about me, right?
Ah, okay.
And
That's so interesting.
Yes. And I almost have a lot more clarity around that. And I don't know if I don't mean to self-diagnose here. I don't know if I don't want to choose that path because now it means committing, if that makes sense, right? I don't know, but what I need to do to figure out is what to do, how to scale this thing down. And I have an idea, but it's not so much how to go about it is something that I kind of thrive in doing because I do it for clients. I know I can do it for myself.
Okay, so KK, what I'm hearing is the stumbling block is the not wanting
to be selfish. You know, from what I know of you, you're somebody who wants to give back and make an impact for other people, and I think we are trained from a very young age to serve other people. That's the conditioning in society. What I will share with you is last month's repatterning was a hero repatterning, and it was around the giver helper. And it was actually about the ways in why we give to other people at our own expense. So that might be one that you might want to check out, that repatterning, and proxy yourself into. to shift that belief around giving to other people before yourself. And what you're saying and what I'm hearing you say is that when you shift the focus to what's right for you, then the pathway becomes clear around what you need to do. Am I understanding you correctly?
It becomes clearer, but it seems it's going to be less fulfilling.
Okay. So that could also be a perception or a belief that it's going to be less fulfilling. So let me see how we can frame that. Focusing
Focusing on what? What would you be focusing on if you were being more selfish?
I would focus on systematizing my own business, and I wouldn't need to create jobs.
Sorry, so it's focusing on systematizing my own business.
At its smaller scale. At its smaller scale, and it would honestly just deliver that entrepreneurial freedom sooner than 3 years.
Okay, but there's a belief there that says it will be less fulfilling that you're resonating with. So we want to switch you off with that. So please say focusing on my own business, systematizing my own business.
Systematizing my own business
On a smaller
scale.
on a smaller scale
Will be less fulfilling.
Less fulfilling.
You're resonating on with that. Okay. Right, so just give me a moment. We want to now identify a positive vision belief that you are going to need for a new way of seeing in the present moment. So I'm checking there's 27 options. So it's 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 18, 19. So I'm just checking statement number 19. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So it takes you into your physical body, your own body, which is interesting. So just, it's a general muscle check. Please say, I see my body.
I see my body.
With pleasure and gratitude.
With pleasure and gratitude.
Okay, so right now you're resonating off with that. So what's interesting, and as I'm hearing what's unfolding in the repatterning, is that the big vision to help other people to create jobs actually takes your focus away from your own pleasure and gratitude in your own physical body. It takes your consciousness outside of yourself. Okay. So
I understand what that means.
Okay, so this is a new vision. It's what we are working with here
is the positive vision belief needed for a new way of seeing in the present. So remember that the way that you're seeing in the present is that if you focus on your own business, it will be less fulfilling for you. And what this positive vision belief is saying to you is that if you start focusing on your own body with pleasure and gratitude, you will feel the fulfillment of the focus on your own business.
Okay.
Does that, sorry?
I'm connecting with that, yeah.
You're connecting with that, okay. But right now, you're not resonating with seeing your own body with pleasure and gratitude. So that's a complete shift in belief over there.
Okay. So we're now going to move into a vision positive action, actually a memory imprint energizing option that we're needing. So just give me a moment. Okay. So I'm going to invite everyone right now in the group to just take a pause. Okay. Is there anybody that wants to share anything at this point? to add to what we've been working with? Okay, if nobody's going to add anything, then I'm going to continue. So I'm going to invite you all now to just close your eyes. Okay, and to visualize the color blue. Okay, you're going to be seeing the color blue in your mind's eye, and you can choose whatever color blue on the spectrum just shows itself to you. Okay, and you're going to be seeing it in your third eye, which is the space in the center of your forehead. Okay, over here, this is where you're initiating the color blue. Okay. I'm now going to invite you to just move that color blue in your body to the place that it wants to go. So just allow your attention to show you, where does this color blue need to move throughout my body. And you might need to send it to your shoulders or to your throat or into your belly. So just allow that color to move wherever it needs to go. Okay, and I'm just going to give you a few minutes, a minute or so, to allow that to fully move its way throughout your body. Okay, so as and when you're ready, you can bring your awareness back from your body and into the here and now. You can just run your thumbs across the tops of your fingertips. You can blink your eyes and just bring your awareness back to me right here and now. Okay, how was that? Does anybody want to give me some feedback? Just being with the color blue. Any sensations, anything you want to share? Elinza, you here with us? Okay, so if no one's going to share, then I'm going to move on to a positive action that we need to take to, just hang on a second. Okay, it's a positive action that is now going to help us integrate the new memory possibility, and we also want to look for a higher purpose and meaning from that time of unsure of identity during change and also not feeling certain. So the question becomes, just give me a moment. Okay, so what is the higher meaning of that experience of not being clear on the next step to take? What is the higher purpose of that, KK?
The first thing that came to mind is I'm forgetting to put myself first, I think, and it doesn't feel like it's a good thing that I'm not putting myself first.
Yeah. So what is the feeling that comes up for you around not putting yourself first, KK?
Sorry, the feeling, can you clarify the question?
The feeling, you say it doesn't feel good to not put yourself first. So what's the feeling that comes up when you don't put yourself first?
feel like I'm letting myself down.
Okay. So is there a feeling of like disappointment that comes with that in letting yourself down?
Yeah, totally. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so this is a general muscle check. Okay. Right. So that's the higher purpose of getting stuck and not being able to move forward, is the need for almost a reshift in focus. Is there anything else that comes up for you around putting yourself first? I just want to check.
Yes. It's almost as if I'm, the bigger dream is the longer route to living my full potential. Because the bigger it is, I think the longer it'll take for me to be at my best. But the smaller it is, I can stretch myself sooner and actually, yeah, if that makes sense.
Okay, so if you focus your full attention on yourself,
Will actually arrive at your best and fullest potential quicker than focusing on the bigger dream.
It's because I'll be forced to do a lot more. I mean,
Okay.
I won't necessarily do everything on my own, but I'll have to do a lot more sooner. There's other commitments that I need to commit to sooner than using the excuse of waiting for people before I can make those commitments.
Forced to commit, right? To your own dream, your own business.
Yes, and then to some partnerships that are kind of waiting for me to make commitments. And my excuse is, hey, I can't do this until I have certain people in certain roles.
okay, so the bigger dream is actually leading you to excuses.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, great. So please say, I'm not putting myself first
I'm not putting myself first.
and I'm letting myself down.
I'm letting myself down.
Yeah, and you're resonating on with that. Okay, I feel disappointed.
I feel disappointed.
The bigger dream is the longer dream to living my full potential
The bigger dream is the longer dream to living my full potential
and being at my best.
and being at my best.
I make excuses.
I make excuses.
Yeah, okay. And you're resonating on with that. Okay, Naz, you wanted to say something, so I'm going to ask you now to jump in here and share what you wanted to share.
Absolutely. Wow, again, spot on. Everything KK is saying is resonating for me. But what I picked up absolutely strongly while he was talking was that I have actually been so focused on the dream that I've forgotten that I'm driving the dream. So I've taken all the focus away from my health, my well-being. I'm driving myself in the ground just to cope, but I can't reach that dream if I'm not whole and healthy and focused. So it's sort of all just come together for me that I'm so focused on I've got to get this done, I've got to get this done. But in doing that, I've totally lost that I'm the one driving this. I need to be healthy and whole.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge realization for me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think that talks to I see my body with pleasure and gratitude. It's sort of, we're so busy focusing on the dream that we neglect ourselves, and
Absolutely.
ourselves as the creator, the source of that dream. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just ask you guys to once again just take a little pause, and I'm going to ask you to just come back into your bodies. You can close your eyes. And what I want to share with you is that memories can be changed. We create new stories out of our memories as we grow and get new information. Each time we have a new awareness, we let go of our old way of seeing our past and the people involved. With each new understanding, you are able to see your memories in a new and more positive light. So appreciate your deeper understanding that putting yourself first is important, and that you cannot live your impossible dream and your full potential if you are not whole and healthy. Appreciate yourself for moving through your past challenge. Say to yourself, I am on my hero's journey of facing and overcoming all of life's challenges. I accept the divine will that everything that happens has a higher purpose. Say to yourself, I free myself of self-blame, disillusionment, disappointment, and I harvest richness from all of my experiences. I do what is right. I am empowered to expand my vision and take in the light. I am light, and I love myself and all beings. So as and when you're ready, just bring your awareness back into the here and now, and you can open your eyes when you're ready. Take your time, look around you, and just see everything with new eyes. Okay. I think this is a good time for us to once again take a little pause, and you can take a sip of water and just a deep breath. And then I'm going to ask for you to give us a little bit of feedback around what happened for you. Okay, so KK, maybe you want to start off sharing with us what happened for you with that new memory being changed, or the memory being changed.
I'm done with dreams that are not going to serve me.
Okay. And how does that feel, to be done with dreams that are not going to serve you?
I feel like I'm on my way.
You're on your way. You've been set free, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Anybody else want to add to that?
Okay, so if there's nobody else that wants to add to that, I am going to now check your statements again, KK. We're going to go right back to the top and see if your resonance feels as if it shifted. So please say, I achieve entrepreneurial and financial freedom.
I achieve entrepreneurial and financial freedom
By the end of 2025.
at the end of 2025.
Okay. Does something feel different for you from when you first said that?
Yes.
So tell me what feels different for you.
I can see it, and it's almost like I see what's been in my way.
Ah, great,
Yeah.
great stuff. Okay, please say, I have difficulty finding the right people to work with.
I have difficulty finding the right people to work with.
I keep meeting with people who buy into the dream,
Keep meeting with people who buy into the dream,
but don't deliver on their first promise.
don't deliver on their first promise.
Okay, so I'm checking your resonance, and that is now off. Please say, this is too big to achieve on my own.
This is too big to achieve on my own.
If I scale it down, it may be more possible.
If I scale it down, it may be more possible.
And you are resonating on with that. Okay. Please say, I feel disillusioned.
I feel disillusioned.
Okay, and you are off for that. Please say, I suppress my feelings
I suppress my feelings,
and life energy,
life energy,
so I won't lose control.
and lose control.
And you're off for that. Please say, in relationship to achieving entrepreneurial and financial freedom,
In relationship to achieving entrepreneurial and financial freedom,
I'm afraid of depression.
afraid of depression.
Okay, and you're off for that now. Okay, I'm just checking your resonance with the early experience at age 13. So you are now off for that. And I'm checking your resonance with the move to the township. And you're now off for that. Okay, I'm checking your resonance with the statement, my love is always with you. I trust you to ask for support. And you're resonating on with that. Okay, please say, I continue to feel unsafe,
I continue to feel unsafe,
unfamiliar,
unfamiliar,
and uncertain.
uncertain.
Okay, and your resonance is off with that. Okay, please say, I am receptive to another option.
I'm receptive to another option.
And you are on for that. Please say, focusing on systematizing my own business
Focusing on systematizing my own business
on a smaller scale
on a smaller scale
will be less fulfilling.
is fulfilling.
Okay, and you're off for that. Please say, I see my body
You see my body,
with pleasure and gratitude.
pleasure and gratitude.
Okay, and you're now on for that. Okay, do I need to check that? No. Okay. Okay, so that brings us, is there anything else required for the session? No, the session is now complete. I just want to see if there's anybody else who would like to share anything that's come in from their own thought process throughout the session.
Okay, so there's nobody who wants to share. So is there anybody who wants to give me feedback around the session? We're just going to take a moment now, a little pause, and then I'm going to ask about how the session was for you, what the experience was like for you, what might have shifted through going through this repatterning process with me. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so we're back, and we're just before we wrap up tonight's group repatterning session, Envisioning Your Dream. I'm going to ask the participants to share their experience and what it was like going through a group repatterning, and what their biggest aha or realization was from the session. So let's start off with you, KK. What was it like? Biggest realization or shift for you?
I'm sure you remember, but when we did our first session about 2 months ago, I think, there was a deep lack of clarity around where this missing masculine energy comes from. There was a bit of a lack there. I think tonight's session kind of helped me to fill that gap. And in itself maybe comes the courage to just screw everything, you know. Let's just do what needs to be done.
Yeah. So that you're not waiting for other people and you can just take your power back, right? That's what it sounds like to me. Okay, great stuff. Thanks for sharing, KK. I'm gonna call on you, Naz, because you jumped in. So let's go to you.
A very emotional ending, Jackie. Surprisingly, very, very emotional. All of it tied together for me into reframing how I see the little me and me right now. I'm always so hard on myself, and the self-limiting beliefs, the not enough, the unworthy, and I've reframed that during the end of it in the exercise, was that I appreciate who I am and the courage that I have, and that I don't give up, and I keep on getting up every time I get knocked down. It's just a very emotional space. Yeah. I love the fact that this group resonance, what it does is it sort of highlights what you will not think about, or what I have not thought about, like the things that KK said, and I go like, oh wow, yeah, actually that is it. I didn't even think about that. You know, so it brings up stuff that you may not have the mental capacity to go to because you're so busy with other things. So very, very enlightening, and always helping me break through where I'm stuck.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Naz, from such a vulnerable place. I really appreciate that. And yeah, well done to you for continuing to keep going, never giving up. That strength, that resilience, that courage. You continue to inspire me, and
to not give up myself. So thanks for sharing. I'm just checking in the chat. Okay. Anybody else? Lotta, do you want to share with us?
Hi, Jax.
Hi.
Well, I came in a bit late, so I missed most of the experience, but quite a few of the things, like what Naz said and KK said, it, you know, like you're saying, it's like we kind of we block ourselves from recognizing that limiting belief or seeing what we should be doing. Like, you know, putting our health first and ourselves first before the dream, so that we can actually fulfill that dream. And when he said that, and when I saw that, you know, it made me take a pause and realize that's what I need to do now, because I've been reaching and I've been pushing myself to obtain that dream, that I'm actually heading towards that mental burnout. And so, you know, by seeing that and realizing that there are other people that are also in that space, it like gives me that assurance and that permission to myself to, you know what, to honor my body and my mental space in the process.
Thank you so much for sharing and just affirming the resonance that is in the field for the group. I really appreciate that, and if it makes you feel any better, Lata, the statistic at the moment is that 81% of people at some time has suffered from burnout, and I think it's becoming quite a big thing at the moment. So this is just an understanding that the work that we're doing here and the shifts that we're making here are actually, they ripple out into the bigger fields and start shifting things for other people. So thank you for participating and being part of bringing in the shift for people to really start realizing we have to take care of our health, both physical, emotional, and mental health. So Ntabi, let's wrap up with you and your feedback.
Hi everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. This is my first session, and for me, I've been going through rather a personal issue than business-wise. So what I've gathered is I need to take charge of my present in order to have a good or a better future, or in order to achieve my impossible dream. Yeah. So I just need to look at my past memories with different eyes and change my present.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. And it's like you say, even though it's not necessarily within an entrepreneurial context, the theme of taking responsibility for the present and shifting the resonance with the past and changing your perceptions is what actually empowers you to live your impossible dream in the future. So thank you so much for sharing, and for everybody who's taken the time to participate in this evening's masterclass. I really appreciate it. It talks to me as well. There's a huge message in here for me as well. So thank you, KK and Naz, for sharing and bringing in the information and the data that we've worked with. I certainly know that I'm going to be putting more of a focus on my physical health and well-being. I'm going to be resting tomorrow and relaxing so that my body can actually just come back to itself and I can come back into my body. I'm wishing you all out there a wonderful evening, and to all of you here who participated, thank you so much. And good luck on taking the next step towards your impossible dream. I'll see you at the next group repatterning, hopefully. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye
Thanks,
for
everyone.
now.
Hi, my name is Joni